Okay, so starting with the messy bit first. This is an outside tap, and that's where the water line goes and runs to my shed. So it's just a direct feed of the mains water. Happens to be outside of the most convenient place. Right, so after leaving the tap outside, the water comes into the shed. I then just split it into two sections with a little splitter. One goes down to my pump for my RO system, and the other one is just directly a water line. I have it clamped here. That just reduces the flow and it makes it easier to manage inside. I have a further one of them inside. But I suppose one of the main reasons that I drip everything in is that you'll see my water coming in is 148 parts per million. The TDSs. That can go from 140 all the way up to 280 depending on the day. Coming out, it's at 15 parts per million. Probably my resin filter needs to be changed at this stage. But I'm mixing the tap water in, so to be honest, that's absolutely good enough for me to bring that down. I'm satisfied with that. One of the things I would do is where this line is going, and this is just the freshwater line, just here I put a HMA filter in. I'm going to do that, have to get around to it. I have a dechlorinator going into the tank as well. That's just a pain in the ass and isn't really necessary if I have the HMA filter. Both lines go into the house here. The tank is on the other side of that wall. It's literally as simple as a plastic pipe through the house and in. The wastewater from the RO unit goes in here and goes out, as does the wastewater. Once again, this is totally for the aquarium. Once again, the wastewater just goes out here and down into the ordinary water runoff. So that's as simple as it is in here. Nothing very complex. Only thing I change is the HMA filter, as I said. Okay, so this is the other side of the wall. Same plastic pipe coming through with the two lines. There's a third line there, but that's only just an air line. Okay, so this is the main water line. You can see there's a little tap on it there that adjusts the time. So more importantly than that, let's get down here for the 100 mils. You'll see, and away it goes. How long does this take to reach the 100 mils? You see. And there it is. Yeah, so same process with the RO. You'll see how long it takes to fill 10 mils. So that is just literally mixing in there. It's dripping into the last chamber. It's going straight into the aquarium from the last chamber. It's not doing too much mixing with the volume of the tank water. Now for my automating the system, basically I have a pump down there at the back. If you can see it, just in there, back left hand corner there. This pipe here, which if you remember I showed you earlier, there's the outflow that's going into my drain. That just goes in there, so that takes, I don't know, 80 litres 5 times a day. When the Discus were younger, I was doing an awful lot more of that. Maybe we turn around and we say hello to these guys too as we're talking to you. So yeah, when they were younger I was doing an awful lot more dripping into the system. I was doing a huge amount more water changes, but as they've got older and as they've got bigger, they just don't need the same conditions, and they're still thriving and growing. The TDSs are way down, and the pH of the water in my tap here, it comes out of the tap at about 7. 24 hours it's up to 8.2. So that's why my drip system is so important for my system here. When I was setting up this tank, I ran several, I suppose, rummy noses and delicate fish in the previous system, and after a heavy rain or if there was a problem with the water treatment plant, the rummy noses got wiped out, they all died. Obviously whatever additive was in the water. With the drip system, it's going into a 650 litre system. It's dripping in so slowly that it's not causing any big fluctuations in the tank, which allows the whole thing to stay running conveniently and easily. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, if there's anything else, if there's any other questions, just holler and let me know. So here I am, I'm in work doing this last little bit of it. The last thing I'd suggest is that if you do decide to drip in the RO water, I'd start dripping it in at maybe 25% the rate of your tap water. Get where that brings your TDSs, your I don't know, KH, GH, whatever you want to test for, and your pH. See how that suits. You let the fish sit with it for a little while. See how it sits with them. Then after a week or so, increase a little bit more to, I don't know, even 40-50%. Because with the drip system, when it's dripping into your tank, any changes will happen very slowly over days. Then you will find exactly the balance that you're looking for. It makes everything easier. The fish prefer it, although they can cope absolutely perfectly with the harder water. From everything I've seen and read, they still prefer lower pHs, lower hardness in the water. It's just the nature of the fish. Everything in your tank is easier. There's not as much of the calcium deposits being built up. There's not as much of the gross stuff being taken out. It's just an easier system when you have the pH and hardness down a little bit. So listen, I'll leave it there. If there's any other questions, don't hesitate to ask. As I said in the message, I really enjoyed this stuff, so give us a shout anytime. Best of luck with it. Bye bye.